Hi, buenos dias, everybody. It is Saturday. I don't know what today is. I think it's Saturday, September 18th-ish. 5:50. Sorry about that. 5:54 in the morning, and this is DR 30. So daily reading 30 already. I can't believe it's been 30 days of doing this in the morning. I set out with the goal of, I committed to the goal of, hey, I'm gonna do this for 30 days, and if it picks up steam, if it if people appreciate it, then I'll keep doing it. And what I've found is that people are definitely appreciating, and I actually appreciate it too. I very much enjoy getting up, reading, and then sharing it. So, and also, if you have any feedback, I'm doing it again for the second day from Facebook Live versus Periscope. So, if as a viewer or as a watcher, as a consumer, you appreciate one over the other, just let me know. So the title of today's video is called Persist and Resist, and I'll get into that a little bit in detail, but the chapter starts out talking about the importance of persistence, and it uses examples of Thomas Edison and Ulysses S. Grant, and in their journeys, Grant as being a great leader in wars, and Thomas Edison in discovering the light bulb. And it just stresses the fact that these guys don't just walk into victory or walk into a light bulb. It is through persistence that they're able to see those things through. And I know in my life, persistence is the result, or is the cause of all of my successes, is getting up after defeats, after setbacks, being persistent in my pursuits, and never giving up. And a neat little quip here that is here in the chapter is that genius is just persistence in disguise. So we look at, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, or someone else, Facebook, his name is escaping right now, but guys like, whatever, I can't remember right now, the guy who invented Facebook, we look at them and we think like Zuckerberg, sorry about that, Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who's responsible for the video I'm making. We look at those guys and think, they're geniuses, but actually they're not. They're just very persistent. They've accepted that I'm not going to quit, I'm not going to give up, and they keep moving forward. And another thing that came from the chapter, and I want to relate this to my life personally, and I guarantee that if you think in your own life that you can figure out examples, you can highlight examples of this. And it says that great success oftentimes comes after failure. So great success oftentimes comes after failure. And that's when you're pushed up against the wall, you're backed into a corner, and you have no choice but to move forward. So how do I relate this to the experiences in my life? When I got knocked out a couple years ago, and I reference that a lot because it's a big deal to me. It was a big deal in my life, but it put me in a corner. Psychologically, physically, mentally, I was like probably at the lowest point in my life, and I needed to make a decision. I needed to be persistent, and to be honest, my book is a result of that experience. If I wouldn't have gotten knocked out, I wouldn't have been laying on the couch, I wouldn't have had a headache for days, and I wouldn't have decided, you know what, hey, I'm gonna write my book and I'm gonna share my story. So that's an example of, hi Carol, that's an example of great success coming after failure. And another thing to consider, so one of the podcasts I listen to, they talk about this thing called the baby effect. And for me personally, I'm probably living it right now, but the baby effect, figuratively, you're being pushed back into a corner. You're being presented with a situation where, okay, I have to raise this human being. I have to provide for this human being. So I have no choice but to soldier on, no choice but to move forward. Having my son Rocky, my second kid, I'm in that position. I have no choice but to figure out ways to provide for him, my wife, my daughter, the life that I want for them. So, look at situations, look at negatives, not as necessarily negatives or failures, but opportunities to move forward, to think more efficiently. And then the last thing I want to touch on, which is really awesome, and it talks about this idea of, persistence and mindset, etc. And it says, and I'll just leave you with this, when you play all the way to the whistle, there's no need to worry about the clock. When you play all the way to the whistle, there's no need to worry about the clock. That means keep your head down, stay focused on the prize, stay focused on the goal, work, 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 be persistent. Don't worry about the outside factors. Persist and resist. Persist in your effort, resist the outside forces, the outside clutter and noise. Hope you all enjoyed DR 30. Can't believe it, 30 already. And if you have been enjoying this, please hop on over to iTunes, hop on over to my website, charlie-brenneman.com/podcast. Listen to myself and my co-host Dredd on a fighter's mindset about instilling these values, these fighter mindset values, into your everyday life. Have a great day.